All right, so next up as a conversation to have with your co-teacher for part of the initial conversation to help get off on the right foot is about your teaching style. So this can be tricky because if you've been teaching for a really long time, 5, 10, 15, whatever it is, plus years, you naturally do things that maybe you don't automatically think about. If you're a new teacher, maybe you don't know how you're going to handle things. And Jackie and I came into our co-teaching relationship where I had taught for 6 or 7 years already, and I had a very specific way that I like to do things in my room, and she was coming in as a new teacher. So I had set ways, she had set ideas, but maybe they hadn't necessarily played out yet in her own classroom because she hadn't had one. So here's an example of one of the categories from this sheet, and after you filled it out with your teaching style, honestly, how do you teach? Then you look at your other partners and how do they actually teach. A really important to note here is that this is not a judgmental conversation. If Jackie and I handle things really differently, that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means it's different, and we have to figure out a way we can come together where both of us are satisfied with that outcome and we're committed to trying it that way. If it doesn't work, we have a conversation about that a few weeks in and we try something else. But if I judge her ideas or she judges my ideas, we're not getting off on the right foot.
And like Erin said, it's a judgment-free zone. We all have taught separately, and it's worked, regardless of our teaching style. So now you're just working on creating your style. So we'll just model the conversation right now so you can kind of see what that looks like. So Erin, what is your policy on homework?
So in my building, they get a lot of homework for math, a fair amount in reading. And so social studies, language arts, and I have made a conscious effort to give little to no homework. I still think that learning some of that accountability and time management is important in the middle school world, but at the same time, they're kids. So it's kind of a fine line. When I get this question from parents, it's hard because I don't have a definitive answer where once a week, once every 2 weeks, but it's generally once every week to 2 weeks is they have a graded assignment that they need to do at home.
Okay.
What's your policy?
I actually am not really a big believer or component for homework. I think that I like to utilize a lot of class time, and I don't know if all my students have the resources to complete homework at home. But I definitely see how you're saying there needs to be some accountability and practice at home.
But I get what you're saying with the resources, and that can be really tricky if it's a piece of paper and maybe they don't get the directions because it's really wordy or something's confusing or they're missing a resource or something. So that makes sense to me too. So how do we mirror that where they know what they're doing, but maybe there is some time management piece kind of with a little bit of homework?
So I wonder if we can just carve out on days that they do have homework, carve out some class time where we can make sure that they do understand the homework and what they're supposed to be doing. And then from there, they're able to be more successful at home.
Yeah, I could get behind that where we, and if they really get the topic, then they can use their class time wisely. Maybe they don't have homework, and that could be like a little carrot, like maybe a little reward for if you know what you're talking about and are focused and work hard, then maybe you won't have homework. And if you're unfocused or need a little bit more support, then we're there for you. But then maybe that means you have a little bit of homework.
Yeah, I can get on board. I like that as our style.
Okay, let's try that.
So that just shows how you can have an open conversation. And again, judgment-free as you create your together teaching style.